I have an idea. This idea came to me while playing in a pub. I thought to myself, wow, this is boring. But I also thought to myself, this whole 15 to 1 and 15 to 2 losses are getting pretty lame now. If only there was a way for the losing team to fight back, at least enough to even out the odds. Then, the cogs in my zoomer brain started turning. Subway Surf appeared in my peripherals, and my thoughts were presented to me through a PsyOp fed woman, and I came to the conclusion that we need a new mode called Randoms Plus. The general premise is this. The Random Plus games will be the same as regular randoms, except two things will happen when a certain criteria is met. This criteria can be something like, the enemy team has at least 10 players alive, while yours has only 5. And the HP deficit must be at least 5,000. Something like that, doesn't have to be exact. If this criteria is met, the losing team gets access to 2 abilities. The first ability is a passive buff to your tank depending on its class. This is a small stats boost that is applied to the entire team and should help give the losing side a slight advantage. I'll go through them here. Heavy tanks get 25% engine power and 5% top speed. The idea is that the game is turning into what I'll henceforth refer to as a shit loss. The heavy can utilize this mobility increase to change flanks towards a side that is preferable, whether that be rushing back to base to defend, or breaking through a flank to attack. Medium tanks get a passive 10% reload decrease and a reduction to dispersion while moving by 15%. This is self-explanatory. Mediums on the losing team can more effectively win a brawl, or fight their way through an opening in the battlefield. Light tanks get a camouflage increase of 10%, which I'll admit is quite high, but remember, this is only if the team is losing horribly. So this will hopefully allow the light to position themselves in a location that would benefit their team much more. Tank destroyers will get a 30% increase to fully aimed accuracy and a 30% decrease to aim time. This will hopefully allow TDs that have been camping at the back the whole game to actually be able to hold back a push and not miss all their shots. Like someone. Artilleries all spontaneously explode and their accounts get deleted. Just kidding, I'm not. I think artillery should also get a mobility gain in the form of 25% horsepower increase and 10 kilometers per hour top speed increase, which is similar to the heavies. But this hopefully will encourage those little shits to use their keyboards and move their tanks towards a safer flank. Besides, giving them something like faster firing or faster aim time, not only is it obnoxious, but, well, it's a shit loss, right? It's gonna be over very quickly. They fire once or twice and then they die anyway. I want to encourage the scummags to actually move throughout the map to a better position, not just camp harder because their guns aim and reload faster. I think this combination allows each class to perform their role more effectively, and may slow down the enemy who's quickly sweeping through the entire battlefield. However, even with this, it may not be enough to stop an absolute horde of shitters coming in from all sides. This is where the next abilities come in. These would be consumables granted to random players through random times during the battle when eligible, so that the game doesn't go apeshit all at once. I will go through the consumables here. Heavy tanks get access to double defense. When enabled, the heavy in question has their current health doubled. Now this will only last for something like 45 seconds before their health is halved again. So any damage they receive still counts, but for half as much. The idea is that this will encourage heavies to push a flank even if it requires them to take damage, by allowing them to effectively trade their HP in pretty much any situation. So for example, say this E100 does 750 alpha damage. With double health, it is as if he does 375 damage. This is fair for the E100 of course, because he will still do full damage to the enemy, but the ally has much more health to spare. The ability can be used once every 2 minutes, so long as the team has not evened out the odds by then. My idea is that this ability can be granted to 2 heavies on your team at random that are at least 200 meters apart, or something around that. That way, each side of the map gets a heavy with the ability to double their health for a short time. After 2 minutes, if the team is still losing horribly, again, it comes off cooldown so the 2 heavies can use it again. However, an additional heavy at random can receive the ability. This double health ability is derived from my experience playing super heavies like the mouse. With such an enormous health pool and armor, it's extremely easy for the mouse to just push a flank, soak up the damage, and open up that side of the map for his team. I want this ability to be available to any heavy tank when faced with a shit loss, to give them a fighting chance. This will hopefully encourage heavies to take risks because the penalties are literally halved. Medium tanks get access to something like an Inspire ability. When enabled, for 45 seconds or so, everybody in close proximity to the medium gets a 10% reduction in reload and 15% reduction in moving dispersion. This hopefully means that a medium tank can inspire other mediums, which will help them boost through a flank. Additionally, the medium can inspire the heavy, who not only will have double health, but now more firepower. I think it would also be a good idea that the players who receive the abilities have a little icon next to their name, so players will know, okay, this person has an ability, let's support them. Or for example, this medium tank can see, okay, this heavy tank has double defense, maybe I'll inspire him. This sort of combo promotes teamwork, and a smart medium tank can decide where he needs to inspire in order to have the best shot at winning a flank. In total, medium tank has a passive 10% and now a 10% ability, so that adds up to 20% to everybody in the circle. So that's a 20% reduction to his reload and a 30% reduction to his moving dispersion, which is definitely a lot, but remember, this is only in the event that there are like 5 people left and there's like, 13 enemies coming in. With that in mind, 20% firepower increase for 5 people gives an effective total output of only 6 tanks. So it doesn't sound so overpowered now. But this means that with a group of inspired mediums and heavies and others, they can win small brawls and free up parts of the map, which will hopefully slow down the shit loss and give your team a fighting chance. Light tanks are the most interesting. I'm thinking it would be cool to give them some sort of microwave beam detection or something. Hold on, okay? There are many different ways it can work. But the idea is that it gives the light tank something to do when passive scouting. Currently, light tanks sit in a bush and do fuck all for upwards of like 10 minutes. The way light tank gameplay works is that if you're both good players, one of you have to make a mistake first in order for the other one to progress the game. If both light tanks refuse to move up because they are afraid of getting spotted by the other, they're just gonna camp the whole game.
What the man? That was scary, bro. Dude, my heart stopped there for a second, man. Manti. Thanks. Thanks, boys. Now we go in, man. We go deep.
What I want is the ability for a light tank to spot a tank by aiming at where they think they are and using this so-called microwave scanner perk, whatever. Think of it this way, there are many instances where I'm like, I want to move up, but I can't, because the enemy light tank is sitting in that bush and I can't spot him without getting myself killed.
I'm instantly spotted. I think it's there actually.
When you enable the scanner beam, you can specifically aim at where you think the enemy light or camping tank destroyer is. And if your reticule is over them, you drop their camo by 5% every second that you are on them. You don't know that you're on them, but you're making your best guess. The scanner is active for about 10 seconds, before having a 30-second cooldown. The enemy will know about it too. If they have sound detection, their tank can have sort of a vibrating microwavy sound in which they will know their camo is being dropped, and they can choose to sit in the bush and get spotted, or leave the bush. When they leave the scanner beam, their camo goes up by 5% every second, until it's back to normal. I think the return to normal should not be instant, because if someone is honed in on your bush, simply wiggling back and forth is enough to completely counter this. So I want the microwave beam to actually be useful and not that easily countered. Maybe you don't even have to aim at them. It could be a cone extending from your tank that covers a wide area. Aiming at the person drops their camo by 5% a second, but being in the coverage zone might drop their camo by 3% a second. That way, an enemy light tank that's holding back an entire flank from advancing can be forced to leave their position. And remember, Again, this is only in the case of a shit loss. You're losing horribly, and you're completely countered by one light tank spotting your whole team. Come on, let's force him to leave his position and give our team some breathing room. Tank destroyers can have access to a smoke screen, similar to like Frontline or Steel Hunter, where they can deploy smoke for 60 seconds that completely conceals their location, but they can still see through it. Now, I think this will allow the team that is losing horrifically to hold up a defense and slow down the push and, slow down the shit loss. Now, I know, camping TDs are obnoxious, but at least with the smoke, you know that there are camping TDs in there. There's nothing worse than trying to play the game, trying to make a play, trying to do anything, only to get smacked by some base camping Jagdpanzer E100. At least with the smoke screen, you can see it and be like, hey, there's base camping TDs in that, let's go find a different path or wait it out. Alternatively, the TDs could even lay down a smoke trail to allow your team to push a flank that is impossible to push. Or, if a TD keeps getting spotted by a light, he's trying to support his team, but he keeps getting lit all the time, he can drop a smoke screen on the light tank's head and give him some breathing room. He'd have to make his best guess as to where the light tank is, but this is the kind of dynamic skill gameplay that I'm looking for here. Imagine this situation. You're on Mountain Pass and you're losing horribly. You're in the back in your sneaky tank destroyer because you're smart and you know that this is a good position. You're double bushed and everything. Your team finally stands a chance of pulling the game back. You patiently wait for the enemy to YOLO up the hill. You open fire and you get spotted instantly. Why? Because Quickie Baby, with his CVS and his Patton, spotted you. Game over. Or, instead of opening fire, you drop a smoke screen right on top of you. Then open fire. You repel the enemy tanks, and right before your smoke screen runs out, you escape through the smoke. Now, this will not guarantee you the win, but it will slow down the shit loss and even out the odds. Now, artillery has the ability to summon a body of water where they can sit and drown in. Okay, artillery has access to the air scout, like in Frontline. The idea is that artillery can actually take out camping targets instead of normal players. See, at least in my experience, the problem with artillery and campers is that, let's say, the enemy's camping TD gets spotted. You aim and aim and aim, and by the time you're fully aimed, they're no longer spotted. And then you just sit there waiting for them to get lit again until you eventually get bored, and then you move on to the heavies. Waste of time. The heavies playing the game are almost always spotted, so artillery players just go for them. However, with Air Scout, artillery can pre-aim the location of where they think a camping TD is, spot them, and fire immediately, possibly penning them, before they even have a chance for their sixth sense to warn them. The best part about this is that it will be balanced, because the enemy will be able to listen for Air Scout planes flying above and realize they will be spotted soon and can take cover. Clueless TD or artillery players who just sit and don't realize anything will not notice, get spotted, and be easy targets for artillery. Now, I'm sure artillery would rather go for the squishy, stationary TD that they are fully aimed on instead of doing 200 damage to a heavy every minute. Alright, okay, so this sounds like a lot of weird and wacky things we're doing to the random queue that could potentially ruin it, or just change the feel of the game too much. That's why I suggest it be a separate mode called Randoms Plus. Now, here's the controversial part. Make the mode exclusive to Watt Plus members only. At least only temporarily. Yes, I know, that's bullshit, but look, hear me out. Wargaming isn't going to do shit that doesn't turn a profit. They have no reason to add any new features in any mode or whatever if they don't need to. We need to give them an incentive to do so. Advertise Randoms Plus as a brand new alternative to randoms that aims to fix the problems of quick games. And put it behind a paywall. Look, I know it sounds bad, but I'm being real here. We can't just sit here and be like, oh, Wargaming needs to do this and remove that and change that. It's not going to happen. We all know that's not going to happen. It just won't. Think about it this way. Paying for WoW Plus is like paying for early access. Now, I do not think it should stay a WoW Plus exclusive forever. Only long enough for Wargaming to get the specifics of the mode dialed in. Besides, it doesn't need to stay a Watt Plus exclusive forever anyway. It would have served its purpose by selling new Watt Plus subscriptions, even if it becomes public to everybody. The players who have already purchased Watt Plus are unlikely to cancel it. That's a simple fact. This is why many services tempt you with free trials. They want to get you hooked in. Randoms Plus could get people hooked in onto Watt Plus by advertising it as finally World of Tanks is fixed. Anyway, it works out for the player base. If Wargaming does go down this path, all you have to do is just wait a bit, then you get it for free. Anyway, just think about what I suggested here. Imagine they do implement it. Next time your team is losing horribly, instead of getting mad about your shit team, you'll actually get hyped about trying to clutch with all the new abilities and consumables that are now available to you. The player base might find that Randoms Plus is a direct upgrade from Randoms and want it forever. Wargaming turns a profit, and I see no losses here. Alternatively, if people want to keep Randoms the way it is, just make it a separate mode. Onslaught is currently off, so Randoms Plus could take its place for the time being. Why not? Anyway, if you like what I said or disagree with what I said, you can leave a comment or even make a response video. I like watching response videos. You know, like I said, I'm a zoomer, which means anything more than 2 sentences is a wall of text to me. I don't like reading, so... thanks for watching, and, oh yeah, of course, fuck all.